coming up. Go get it.
Smokin' Gun Outdoors, reality TV for Tidewater's hunters and fishermen.
Ain't none better. Thanks for joining us this week on the Smokin' Gun Outdoors. We're going to be fishing with Justin, Hurst, and Sean, doing something a little bit different. A new fishery here in the state, sheepshead fishing. We're going to show you how to do it. Y'all stick around.
What can the middle of nowhere teach us about financial advisors? With the right guide, you can find rewards in any environment. Cobia Securities. Talk to us. Together we can achieve uncommon results.
When you've made a great catch, you can keep the memory alive for years to come. Mountain Breeze Taxidermy specializes in salt and freshwater fish mounts and provides museum-quality results at hometown prices. From baitfish to marlin, Mountain Breeze uses a 360-degree paint scheme for the most realistic look and offers wall mounts, pedestal mounts, and scenery mounts. It's Mountain Breeze Taxidermy for realistic reproductions for today's fishermen.
Looking for adventure? Book a charter aboard the 36-foot Smokin' Gun, where you will experience the finest in lower Chesapeake Bay and nearshore sport fishing. With over 30 species of sport fish to choose from and year-round fishing out of Hampton, Virginia, Captain Hogg will customize your trip to meet your party's needs. With cold weather brings big striped bass. Rockfish season starts October and lasts into January. Book a trip today.
Oh yeah, look at that one.
Fishing for sheepshead in the lower Chesapeake Bay has gained in popularity over recent years as anglers have learned of this world-class fishery. Today, guest host Al Bonnell caught a ride with Justin Hurst and Sean Malone and headed out to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel in search of sheepshead. The rocks and pilings which make up the 18-mile bridge tunnel provides an enormous amount of food and habitat for sheepshead. Over the past several years, Justin Hurst and his crew have experimented with sheepshead fishing and have developed a reputation as local experts on this specialized fishery. Although they are anglers who do enjoy taking fish home for the dinner plate, Justin and his crew are conservation conscious and equally enjoy tagging and releasing sheepshead back to the waters of the Chesapeake in order to gain more knowledge of the spawning habits, growth, and life expectancy of these sport fish. Here, Sean Malone shows us that years of experience pays off when fishing for sheepshead, as he finds the depth the fish are feeding, presents them the bait, hooks the fish, and pulls the fish to the side of the boat away from hazardous structure in order to have the best opportunity to land the fish. The bite around the pilings feels more like a slow tug as the fish takes the bait and moves around the piling versus an aggressive tap such as a tautog bite. Although environmental conditions affect when the fish feed, Justin indicated to us that the bite generally happens within the first 2 minutes of fishing the piling.
Nice work. I was probably 20 feet down. He took my fiddler crab and he just pulled and pulled and pulled. I tried to get him away from the pole as quick as possible, just back to the side of the boat so he won't break me off. I've got 80-pound leader, but you know, that's probably about 5 feet of 80-pound leader. But then after that, if he gets the braided line around that pole, that'll be gone instantly. So the main thing is get him away and then loosen the drag up a little bit and let him fight so you don't pull the hook. A lot of fun.
21.5 inches. We're gonna pop a tag in this guy and send him back on his way. All right, Mr. Fishy. His stomach's balled out on the side a little bit. You can probably tell there's probably a couple whole crabs in there. You can actually feel them. They're beautiful fish. Good fighting. Good eating too.
Now, speaking of good eating, I wouldn't mind keeping one or two to eat.
Well, let's keep them, man. Yeah, whatever you want, man.
I ain't never eaten one.
Oh, ooh.
That's what I hear.
Oh, you've been missing out. They're delicious.
You might be able to tell I like to eat too.
After watching and learning, guest host Al Bonnell is ready to test his knowledge. Keeping his fiddler crab close to the piling, Al feels a slight tug on the line, lifts the rod up to set the hook, and then the fight is on. Al follows Sean's advice, bringing the fish to the side of the boat, avoiding any snags on the piling.
Now we're talking.
Well, you know, blind squirrel. Blind squirrel. That is my first sheepshead ever. Yep, that's something else. Thank you, man.
It's a good one to start with.
Yeah. He's pretty now. He'll be real pretty golden brown. All right. All right. Did you back up there?
Hard, yeah. It's unbelievable.
Well,
How good they fight.
I can see where somebody that didn't talk to anybody or, know the rigs or know how deep would have a tough time. But
yeah,
I mean, man, that's all right.
That's what I tell everybody. It's like riding a bike. It's hard to learn it, but once you figure it out, you got it. You always have it.
I think I missed 3 or 4 bites before hooking one. So
I just missed it.
did you?
Maybe it's starting to turn on a little bit. Hopefully.
Comes off the boat.
Need to get my skunk out the box.
What can the middle of nowhere teach us about financial advisors? With the right guide, you can find rewards in any environment. Wachovia Securities. Talk to us. Together we can achieve uncommon results.
Bishop Fishing Supply, Virginia's only South Florida-style tackle store. With a large selection of high-quality tackle and gear from Shimano, Bishop Fishing Supply is the place the locals go. Known for their smoothness and legendary durability, Calcutta is the gold standard in bait casters. Check out the line of TLD 2-speed lever drag reels and the aluminum frame and ergonomic design of Tiagra. Shimano's top shelf reels help fishermen catch more fish. Bishop Fishing Supply, your ultimate full-service tackle store.
Looking for adventure? Book a charter aboard the 36-foot Smokin Gun, where you will experience the finest in lower Chesapeake Bay and nearshore sport fishing. With over 30 species of sport fish to choose from and year-round fishing out of Hampton, Virginia, Captain Hogg will customize your trip to meet your party's needs. With cold weather brings big striped bass. Rockfish season starts October and lasts into January. Book a trip today.
All right, I'd just like to take a couple minutes and tell you a little bit about how I got started with sheepshead fishing. That's one of the first saltwater species that I really ever learned how to catch, believe it or not. When I first turned 16 years old, we used to have a place down at Nag's Head, and when all my friends got their driver's license, they were off going to the pier and hunting for girls, and I was going down to the Bonner Bridge at Oregon Inlet learning how to fish. And I'd always see these big fish swimming around the pylon, silver with stripes on them, and just feeding up and down the poles. And I tried and tried to catch them, and I never had much luck. So I started going to some of the tackle shops down there and talking to some of the local people, and they went on to tell me that they were sheepshead that I was seeing, and I could catch them on crab. And so I got all rigged up and went crabbing and got myself some crabs one day and went down to the catwalk on the Oregon Inlet Bridge, and we dropped our crabs down, and boom, I hooked up and got in this nice fish, and I was so happy. I got in the car, ran home. Oh, I caught my first sheepshead, and we cleaned it up and ate it. And I went back down there the next day to try to get a few more of them, and I laid into a fish and I about broke my rod in half, and I got it up and I said, oh my goodness, this is a sheepshead. And the reason that I knew was because of the big teeth it had, and come to find out, the fish that I had caught the previous day was a juvenile black drum, and I had actually thought that that was a sheepshead. So I got my first sheepshead the next day, and it was a 12.5 pounder. And ever since that time, I've really been hooked on sheepshead fishing.
It's something else, man. Not like anything I've done before. You know, similar to tog fishing, I guess.
Yeah, but not as.
No, then again, it ain't nothing like it either.
Right, got a weird bite too.
Like a spade fish, he just pulls and pulls and pulls, but these things make like a run, and then they swim towards you a little bit, make a run and swim towards you. That's why I think they unhook themselves a lot, you know, because you wind up losing tension on them. So.
When fishing along pilings, Justin and his crew generally look for water depths between 20 and 60 feet, with the bite generally occurring at the mid-level of the water column. The amount of weight needed depends on the current, but generally a 2 to 5 ounce lead weight is sufficient.
There we go. Finally. Yeah. All right. Good gracious. He's a smaller one. Beautiful little fish. Those things, you got to be really careful too when you're handling them, because they can get kind of violent in the boat, and those little spikes right there can do some serious damage to your leg. Last weekend I dropped one, and I still have scars on my leg where he stabbed me with a fin, so I always try to be pretty careful with them when I'm handling them. 17.5 inches, that's probably about a 6.5 pound fish. And I just record the length, and I enjoy tagging them and letting them go, because down in Oregon Inlet, I fish for them a lot down there, and they got fished out, and you can't even hardly catch a nice fish there anymore. So with these things, until we learn more about them and how they spawn, and hopefully they'll set some limits on them, you know, so it doesn't happen here. So I always keep 1 or 2 to eat and try to let most of them go. Catch them another day. If you catch a tagged fish, it's always best to, as tempting as it might be, just to record the information and let them go with the tag in it, because they can record a lot more information, especially if you've already recaptured it once. The longer they stay out there with the tags in them, the more information they learn about them. So I used to, whenever I caught tagged fish, I'd always rip the tag out and take it home, but it's definitely important to try and let them go with the tag in them if you can. So write down the phone number, and you record the length of the fish and where you caught it, and if you call the phone number, I think they send you a free hat. I've got one somewhere around here, but they're nice little cats, well worth the phone call. See if I can get another one. These things can be just as bad, you know. Oh my goodness, that's a better one there. That's a better fish. Oh yeah. Woo! Look at that beast. Golly, Miss Molly. Oh, look at that. Fell off in the net. Well, I guess that's why they make nets. All right. That's a little bit better one there. That's probably about a 10.5 pound one. Getting a little bit better. I think the bite's turning on. Drop this guy back in. Whoa, he took off fast. He was full of energy. He just had to wake back up.
Ooh-wee, these boys are good. Y'all hang around, we'll be right back.
What can the middle of nowhere teach us about financial advisors?
Let's strip it down!
With the right guide, you can find rewards in any environment. Cobia Securities. Talk to us. Together we can achieve uncommon results.
When you've made a great catch, you can keep the memory alive for years to come. Mountain Breeze Taxidermy specializes in salt and freshwater fish mounts and provides museum-quality results at hometown prices. From bait fish to marlin, Mountain Breeze uses a 360-degree paint scheme for the most realistic look and offers wall mounts, pedestal mounts, and scenery mounts. It's Mountain Breeze Taxidermy for realistic reproductions for today's fishermen.
Looking for adventure? Book a charter aboard the 36-foot Smokin gun, where you will experience the finest in lower Chesapeake Bay and nearshore sport fishing. With over 30 species of sport fish to choose from and year-round fishing out of Hampton, Virginia, Captain Hogg will customize your trip to meet your party's needs. With cold weather brings big striped bass. Rockfish season starts October and lasts into January. Book a trip today.
All right, I'm Justin Hurst, and I'm here with you today. I'm going to do the captain's tip. I'm going to hopefully show you how to rig up for Sheepshead, and I'm going to show you some of the rigs that we're used to catch some of the fish we caught today. I use two different types of rigs when I'm Sheepshead fishing. One rig I use when I'm fishing the tunnel or around the islands, and the other rig I like to use when I'm working the pilings, which we did a lot of today. The terminal tackle on a Sheepshead rig, there's not too much involved with it. Basically all you need is a good pack of strong barrel swivels, and I prefer to use 3/0 or 4/0 Gamakatsu octopus hooks. They're my favorite hooks by far, nice and sharp, and they stay sharp, and you can use them over and over again. When I'm working over the tunnel or around the islands, I like to tie a simple, what some people call a tog rig. It's just a basic rig. My main line runs to the barrel swivel, and then I have an 80-pound leader that I like to use. I definitely prefer 80-pound in case you do get wrapped around a pylon or hung up in the rocks a little bit. You have a little bit more abrasion resistance. I like to tie my hook at least a foot from my weight. I like to have the weight kind of far away from the hook, and I think a lot of times the Sheepshead aren't really on the bottom, so putting that hook up high on the leader seems to help out a lot. I always tie a dropper loop on the bottom, and the reason I do that is just to make changing weights easy. With the dropper loop, you just kind of stick the loop through your weight and then pop your weight back through your loop, and then you're all set to go. And this is what the rig looks like. I always try to make sure that when I tie this, if you look at this, you see how my hook's pointing away from my leader, and I think that's very important. I've noticed that whenever my hooks turn, if I tie it and my hooks turn in like that, I'll just cut that one and throw it in the trash, because I love to have my hook pointing out away from my leader. Fiddler crabs are the bait that we'll be using and used. They're definitely my favorite bait for sheepshead. There's a lot of different ways you can hook them. Some people say, I mean, it doesn't really matter how you hook them, but I have a favorite way that I like to do it. I always like to go in on the bottom of the crab near the back and stick it almost all the way through the crab, and then come out of his backside and kind of thread the hook up in him a little bit. And I like to have my hook sticking out the back of him like that, and that seems to be the best way to rig up the fiddler crab. But this is a basic sheepshead rig that we use, again, around the islands and over the tunnel, and we do use this on the pilings at times. Another rig that I like to use when the tide really slows down and you don't need big 4 and 5 ounce sinkers to stay where you need, is with a barrel weight. And this works really well on the pylons, especially at slack tide. I like to take a variety of different size weights, because I do have to change them at times, but normally a 2 to 3 ounce barrel weight is about the size you would need to use. And again, I just thread that on my main running line and run that to the barrel swivel, and I keep a real short leader on this rig, and the same 3/0 or 4/0 Gamefish hook. And this is the rig that I like to use when we're fishing along the pylons, and especially during slack tide. It really seems to work well, and with the direct line you can really feel the bite, and that's kind of important with these fish, because the bite is really different when you're around the tunnel or around the island. They'll hit it really hard like a tog, and you'll definitely notice the bite. But sometimes when you're fishing the pylons, you'll just kind of feel like a weight or a slow tug down. And I think this rig with the barrel weight really helps you feel those bites a little bit better. So that's why I really prefer to use this around the pylons. If you use these type rigs and do a little bit of what you saw on the show today, you should have no problems catching some of your own sheepshead.
What can the middle of nowhere teach us about financial advisors?
Let's strip it down!
With the right guide, you can find rewards in any environment. Cobia Securities. Talk to us. Together we can achieve uncommon results.
Bishop Fishing Supply, Virginia's only South Florida-style tackle store. With a large selection of high-quality tackle and gear from Shimano, Bishop Fishing Supply is the place the locals go. Known for their smoothness and legendary durability, Calcutta is the gold standard in bait casters. Check out the line of TLD 2-speed lever drag reels and the aluminum frame and ergonomic design of Tiagra. Shimano's top-shelf reels help fishermen catch more fish. Bishop Fishing Supply, your ultimate full-service tackle store.
Looking for adventure? Book a charter aboard the 36-foot Smokin Gun, where you will experience the finest in lower Chesapeake Bay and nearshore sport fishing. With over 30 species of sport fish to choose from and year-round fishing out of Hampton, Virginia, Captain Hogg will customize your trip to meet your party's needs. With cold weather brings big striped bass. Rockfish season starts October and lasts into January. Book a trip today.
Because you can't really tie off to the poles out here, a lot of times what we have to do is, I'm stuck driving the boat, but I just kind of bump it in and out of gear and keep them up close to the pylons, and we're able to catch fish like this pretty easily. And it's nice too, because if you want to move, it's pretty easy to move. You don't have any anchor to pull up or anything like that. So a lot of times when the tide's running slow enough, this is definitely a good way to try and get them, because you can stay mobile and move around and fish lots of different pylons. But you have to, continuously work the motor, so you have to have a dedicated driver when you're fishing like this. But it is productive. I think that he just caught one a minute ago like that. I think they got another one on up there. We're catching them like this now, but you can only kind of do it when the tide's slack, because once it gets rolling, it's nearly impossible to be able to keep the boat in the right position.
Here he is.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Thank you.
All right.
That might be my prettiest one this year.
Nice work.
Whew. That was great. You gotta love that. Yeah, that's 24 and a half. I think I'm going to do the citation release on that girl. That's a 24 and a half inch citation release. That's my biggest one this year. I'm really happy with her. Thanks, Justin.
Nice fish, y'all. Nice one. That's your first citation this year, isn't it? Yeah. Good job.
Justin, sure appreciate you taking us out, man.
Yeah,
That was outstanding.
I appreciate
Sean,
the opportunity.
Great to fish with you.
You too,
Great
man.
to fish with you. Bishop's Fishing Supply gave us a little something for you, and I think for being the MVP and snagging the pole, man, you deserve that one. And
Yeah.
little fluorocarbon leader material for you from
wonderful.
Bishop's, man.
Wonderful.
We had a blast, learned a lot today. I tell you what, that's really a
Yeah.
specialized fishery.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to find a few fish, and we all got a few. So
Yeah,
it was
man.
a good day.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to having it on the table. From what you're saying,
That's
it's
right.
outstanding.
They are delicious.
Well, good.
One
good.
of the best in the bay, I think.
Well, how many would you say? I mean, that you stuck tags in this year? I mean, how many did you tag last year? It's something you've obviously been concentrating on.
Yeah, last year I would guess, I don't know, maybe 75
Right?
fish or so tagged, and this year I think so far we're up to maybe about 30.
Right.
And we've been keeping a lot and donating them to ODU, for that
Right.
research project too. So I haven't tagged as many yet this year, but I hope to get many more before the summer's over with. So.
Well, man, we sure appreciate it.
Thank y'all for
again.
coming,
look
man. I had a
forward to
great
fishing with
time.
you
I had a
again
great
sometime.
time. Every time I get with you, I learn a little something from you too. So it's always nice to go out with a good
I don't
friend.
know what.
Thank y'all for tuning in to Smokin' Gun Outdoors. We'll see you next week.
That was lucky.
Duh. You will see that every day.
The big sheepshead and the fishing pole.
I think you might get MVP.
That was a lucky day.
Yeah, back-to-back citations, and then caught my fishing pole I dropped overboard. Goodness. Smokin' Gun Outdoors. Son, ain't none better.